President Paul Kagame of Rwanda is a highly influential and controversial figure, particularly in discussions about democracy in Africa. His views on democracy and governance have shaped Rwanda's political landscape significantly. Here are some key aspects of Kagame's stance on democracy.
Right. You've always consistently refused this criticism on human rights, on a democracy that's not exactly a democracy, always saying this comes from the West, or Western media, or Western organization. Don't they have a point at all?
Wouldn't I have a point if I criticized the Western democracy?
Sure.
Yeah. So what is the problem? If democracy is not going to be perfect anywhere at all, as we have seen, as we always see, we see that, you know. What I don't like is just the hypocrisy. You are so deep in your own mess about democracy, and then you think you have authority to come and make criticisms about others, and even want that to have a consequence on them. It's just hypocrisy. And am I supposed to accept that?
Well, as a last question, you were elected in 2000, so 22 years in power. The next election is scheduled in 2024. You haven't said whether you would run, but do you consider running or?
Well, I will consider running for another 20 years.
Really?
I have no problem with that.
Really?
Yes. But
this means the president.
We're talking about elections.
Yes.
Again, this is the contradiction and hypocrisy I'm talking about.
Well, there could be limit on the mandates, right?
Elections are about people choosing, isn't it?
Right. When they're free and fair, yes.
And that's yes, okay. But you haven't at least of all the criticisms you have had, nobody has said the elections have not been free or fair. But we have had it in other places that people don't even talk about, including even people who complain about us. So don't you have, right now as we speak, we are having cases in the developed world about elections.
Right.
You remember not so long ago, there is a case going on somewhere in a very advanced democracy about
in the United States, yes.
Somebody who wants to carry. So this is, I think people have to decide what they want to do for themselves. You see, you have problems of your own that somebody should be questioning, and then you want to, be the one to dictate what I should be doing. At the same time, even with the contradiction, because if you are talking about elections, and the election is about people choosing.
Yes, sir, but
and
there could be.
You are saying if it is free and fair, but that has not been the accusation. The accusation is different. Even the one you started, you are not talking about how free or not free the elections are. You are talking about just having to choose so many times. I think that this is different.
Right, but people could say, I'm not going to be president for life. There should be limits.
Which people are you talking about?
Well, you have debates in many African countries about 2 terms. I mean, we've had it, you're having it in Senegal, in Ivory Coast, and others, because they say a person after a while in power should leave and maybe...
That's fine. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But people can also say a different thing. So which one are you supposed to accept? People can say that, yes, and I would accept it. But if they said the other one also, I would accept it. So what is the issue here? Anyway, why would anyone be so concerned about our own situation, which the people of Rwanda seem to be happy about, that is working for them, but somebody says, no, that should not happen in Rwanda. We haven't been questioning what is happening elsewhere. As I said, if you criticize me, I will criticize you, because there are things somebody is doing that are not right, even against me, and then he comes around and starts blaming me for what I'm doing that is working for me. For me, I'm just even basing on simple logic.
Kagame emphasizes the importance of economic development and stability over the Western mode of liberal democracy. He argues that Rwanda's history, particularly the 1994 genocide, necessitates a focus on security and development to prevent a return of violence and chaos. Kagame's approach to governance involves a tightly controlled political environment. While Rwanda holds regular elections, opposition parties and dissenting voices face significant restrictions. Critics argue that Kagame's government suppresses political opposition, limits press freedom, and curtails civil liberties to maintain control. Kagame points to Rwanda's impressive economic growth and development as evidence of the effective governance mode. Under his leadership, Rwanda has seen significant improvement in healthcare, education, infrastructure, and poverty reduction. He argues that this achievement demonstrates the success of his governance approach. Kagame often criticized the Western mode of democracy, suggesting that it may not be suitable for all countries, particularly those with different historical and cultural contexts. He believes that democracy should be adapted to fit the unique needs and circumstances of each nation. Kagame emphasizes a result-oriented approach to governance. He argues that the effectiveness of a government should be measured by tangible outcomes, such as improved living standards and social progress, rather than solely by adherence to democratic processes like free and fair elections. International human rights organizations frequently criticize Kagame for human rights abuses, including repression of political opponents, limitation of freedom of speech, and extrajudicial actions against dissidents. Kagame and his supporters often dismiss this criticism as biased and not reflective of Rwanda's reality. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and share your thoughts in the comment box below. Until next time, cheers and have a good one.